Cool. Hey Luke, welcome. Good evening. So, let's see. Okay. Welcome everybody. Good evening. Day 2 of Advent of Code. I don't have any background music going. I didn't look into it to mix the audio properly, and I had it running yesterday, but I actually had my desktop muted because I didn't want to hear it over the speakers. But I forgot that I should have just turned off the speakers instead. So we're rolling with no music now. If you guys find it annoying, let me know and I'll make sure there will be music tomorrow. So yeah, let's see. Advent of Code Day 2. Finished Day 1 yesterday. There was a bit of a challenge there, which was fun for Day 1. We usually don't get a challenge for Day 1. But yeah, let's see what Day 2 has in store for us. Quick sip and then I'll start reading. Okay. Day 2, gift shop. You get inside and take the elevator to its only other stop, the gift shop. Thank you for visiting the North Pole, gleefully exclaims a nearby sign. You aren't sure who's even allowed to visit the North Pole, but you know you can access the lobby through here, and from there you can access the rest of the North Pole base. Actually, let me zoom it in a bit so that it's easier to read along on stream. It probably covers a part of the screen now, like this, right? Oh, no, I can do it like this, that's fine. As you make your way through the surprisingly extensive selection, one of the clerks recognizes you and asks you for your help. As it turns out, one of the younger elves was playing on a gift shop computer and managed to add a whole bunch of invalid product IDs to the gift shop database. Surely it would be no trouble for you to identify the invalid product IDs for them, right? Let's see. Hey, MA Anomaly and Giselle, welcome. They've even checked most of the product ID ranges already. They only have a few product ID ranges, your puzzle input, that you'll need to check. For example, and here we have some input values. So these are ranges, 11 to 22, etc. Okay. The ID ranges are wrapped here for legibility. In your input, they appear on a single long line. Okay. These ranges are separated by commas, each range giving its first ID and last ID separated by a dash. Since the young elf was just doing silly patterns, you can find the invalid IDs by looking for any idea which is made of only some sequence of digits repeated twice. So 55, that's 5 twice, 64, 64, 64 twice, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 twice would all be invalid IDs. None of the numbers have leading zeros. 0101 isn't an ID at all. 101 is a valid idea that you would ID that you would ignore. Okay. Your job is to find all of the invalid IDs that appear in the given ranges in the above example. So that would be everything with the 0 starting. Your job is to find all of the invalid IDs. 2 invalid IDs. Okay. Also, these are just... okay, so it's every value in that range. That's interesting. That's actually quite fun. So you have a lower bound and an upper bound, and then you have every pattern in there. I like that. But for it to be a repeating value, it has to be an even number of digits, because an odd number can't have a repeating value. Actually, repeated twice, yeah. I'm just thinking, like, if 998 here, they say that's invalid because it's not 2 repeating. Yeah, sure. So we only have to consider numbers with an even number of digits, and then we can just do like a string combination of all the possibilities that repeat within that range. So I think it's doable, but it's a fun challenge. And here is a big range. Oh well, it seems pretty close. Is it only 10? Okay. Yeah. But this is quite a fun challenge. My mind is already whirring along. This one has only one invalid ID, contains no invalid IDs. Okay. Okay. Well, the clear not working solution would be to brute force this, right? You take one value, increment it, then do the check. That's not an interesting solution at all. It will probably work for this because the ranges are fairly small, but I'm sure it won't work for part 2. And also it feels like not a fun thing to code. So like just do the brute force solution. Like I watched a few streamers yesterday that just gave up on part 2 and just did the brute force solution. I can understand it, but it's not a fun way to do this. So I will want to do this in a fun way. Yeah, I like it. Adding up all the invalid IDs, this example produces this. Okay, what does it mean? Okay, you sum the values. Sure. Okay. So you have ranges, they are inclusive, and you have to find all the repeating patterns in that. I actually wrote a function, I think a helper function, a long time ago in here. Pattern. I don't even know what is it called. I have so many functions in here. Skip, match, split by white space, map as bool, just through with find char. Nope. Find char reverse, get mod with offset. Generate diffs, get permutations. Map all. Another map as grid locations. Extract functions, directional moves, green theorem. Okay. Exclude, xy radians, frequency per column, max per column, min per column, time to print out. Okay, I was sure that I wrote something a few years back that would just find patterns. Luke says brute force for the win. Yeah, for the win, but not for the fun. I don't like it. So I'm not gonna do that. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. We can make it a bit bigger. Let's just copy day 0, day 2. This becomes day 2. I don't have a fancy way to create a new day yet. I should probably pre-generate all of them, have something fun in there, but it's fine. The test for part 1 is this value, answer test part 1 is that. And then we have the test value ranges here. Let's save that as well. Input, here is our test. Okay. So we do input split like this, and then we do no, that's not it. This is by this character, and each one of these is as int. Let's do int 64s. Okay. I don't even remember if it's been a while since I used my function here. This would give us each range type it in. This would make it a list of long. Like this. So this would be a from and to range. Hey Smap, welcome. Let's see. Rishi says it's almost brute force, but not quite. Could you do a bitwise comparison of the values to be less brutish? Maybe. The thing that I have in mind is actually string based. So let me cook. I'll find something fun. At least I have something in my mind that I want to try first. So we have. Let's do a hash. No, it's not a hash set because there can be dupes. A list of long invalid IDs is. Oop. So we have a starting range and an end range. Let me think. Because we have like the lower bound and the upper bound, and now my idea was like in case you have the, let me get the example here. Boom, 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 boom. This was a nice one, I think. If you have this one, like you don't have to check any digits that are odd numbered in length, right? So you have to round up to the next to the next 4 digit or 6 or whatever. So let's see. How do we do this? So you take the range 0. So let's do long start end. Start is this and is this. Isn't there also like you can do start and is range? I don't remember the destructuring things. It's been a while, but okay, let's do it like this. We do start length is start to string dot length. If start length mod 2 is not equal to 0, round up to the next even numbered value. So then we would make start equals long.parse. It will be 1 plus new string, and then we have 0, comma start length. Not sure if this is the nicest way to do it, but this brings us to the lowest value of that amount of digits so that we can start looking for a mirror value. And that would actually, like the smallest that it could do would be 1010, right? Or like a repeating of the first part. So you would actually do, let me see, string half is this actually, and we do start length divided by 2, so this would round down, so 3 becomes 1, so this becomes 10, and then we do twice this to get the first mirror, because this is the smallest value that we can get when we're looking for mirrors, right? While start smaller equal to end. Right, when we pass our end, we can stop. And And actually this half part is important because this is the stuff that we will want to work with. Else, boom, half equals, what do you call it? This would be like the left part of the number, and it has to be larger than the right part. So this would be start to string, substring. Actually, we can do, I think we can do this notation. So we do 0 and then start.length. No. Start length. Excuse me. Start length divided by 2. This. Right? Would this be correct? Let me see. So we have blah 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we do 0, comma. This would be 2. Is this? It's not a comma. It needs to be the spread there. Come on. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. So this works. So this takes the first section of that. The only issue is that here the start can be smaller than the actual start number. So I'm thinking, do we need to parse that as a... I think we actually need to parse this as a number itself and then increment that and not have it as a string. So we do long half like this. So this becomes long.parse. Now, I hope you all still with me and I haven't lost you yet with my crazy idea. I'm not sure how everybody else solved it, but this is the first thing that came to my mind. But I can understand that if you don't have the same way of thinking, that you'll be like, what is Nick doing? So this will be like this. Yeah, that's fine. Half is long.parse like this. Sure. Then we do this, and then we do while start smaller than. We can actually update it yet. Start maybe. So we do here start maybe is this, and while start maybe is smaller than start, we increment half, and then we do this. So this would make Swap says it's similar to how I originally solved it. Oh, that doesn't bode well. That means there was a better way to do it in the end. But and Luke says I kind of did the same thing. Okay, I'm glad we're all on the same page then. Try not to spoil it for me. I'm gonna see how far it goes. Seems fun. So this will just keep increment until we. Actually, I think this should only fire once, because, like, if you have a number like 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, it would make it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that is higher than the start number. So then we would increment this once, and then we would be within range anyway. So I don't think this needs to be a while. This can be an if, because it only needs to fire once. We can only be out of range once, so account for it. Right. So we take that. Hey Nineberry, welcome. Glad to see you again. Hope you had a good year. Like I said, I should feel ashamed. I've been using Visual Studio for 20 years and I've just discovered there is a C# interactive window. Yeah, it's been there for a while, and it's nice. It's pretty slow, but it's nice to quickly test out some things. Smap says, it worked perfectly well. I just had another idea once I finished that I like more. Okay. I can understand that. So let's see. We're at the start range here. We account for odd numbers that we don't care for. We do that. And then we get to the meat of the code where we keep looping until we reach the end. So now we need to boom, 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 boom. So now we actually have a duplicate, because here we can do start is start maybe. Let's make sure that we finalize the start candidate into its actual value. And then once we hit here, we can just do what we need to do, which is, let me think, invalid IDs, we add them. Invalid IDs that add start, and then we do we increment half, and then we do start equals this. And there's probably, I heard a bit shifting at the beginning, and I think that would be probably better, but for now we'll take the overhead of long parsing strings. I know this is far from efficient, and I might do the bit shifting thing again. Hey Nineberry, welcome. I see you're on YouTube as well. Welcome on both platforms. YouTube is usually a lot less active than Twitch, and people seem to prefer Twitch. Plus on Twitch there is this nice star that you can give out when we finish, so it seems to be more fun on Twitch. But I stream on both platforms for those who care. So yeah, let's see. This one should actually, I think this is already part 1, and then we sum all of them together. So P1 equals, I think it's like this, right? Can do that now. So yeah, let's switch to day 2. Let's see if I didn't forget about something yet. Okay, it finished part 1, and that one was correct. So now it goes to part 2 and it says, hey, that's incorrect. So let's run the real code. Boom. You have a big number. Let's see what it tells us. Woohoo! First gold star in the bag. Nice. Okay, I'm glad I actually one-shotted this. So yeah, let's knock on wood and keep the streak going. Let's see, part 2. The clerk quickly discovers that there were still invalid IDs in the ranges in your list. Maybe the young elf was doing another silly pattern as well. Now, an ID is invalid if it is made only of some sequence of digits repeated at least twice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 2 times. And that 3 times, and that 5 times, okay, 7 times are all invalid IDs. Okay. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. So I think that still is about the same. Let's, I just need to do the candidates a little bit differently. Let me think. P2, this, okay. So now we don't start at half, but we start at the smallest, and that would be 2 digits, right? I think. Sequence of digits that implies more than 1, so 2 at the least. And there's probably some memorization that you can do for the lower sections. No, yes, maybe. um, let's see, Luke. This part I solved in a stupid but also genius way. Looking forward to seeing it later. Mm, let me think. Because in my mind, there has to be. Is there overlap here? I'm not sure. But even without overlap, there must be like a way to. Um, I mean, I'm sure there's a way to memorize this to make it faster, but the ranges are still fairly small, so I think it should be fine. But there are some alarm bells going off in my head. I'm just having to think. Mm, 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 mm. Let me think. You have a a number, and you have to check for all possible 2, 3, or 4 digit combinations. So based on the length of the um, based on the length of the digit, there is only certain options how you can devise it, right? Um, like in the first one, we only tackled divisible by 2. So I wonder if there's a way to change this code so that you can say kind of want to make this variable where you say like, okay, if it's divisible by 2, 3, 4, etc., so that you do all the combinations. Um, mm, because in my mind, like there are so many ways to optimize stuff that I'm thinking about. Because if you have like the 2 digit versions, then that doesn't automatic. Well, in range, it means you can do that. Hmm. Okay, I'm not sure why this is tripping me up, but I think I'll. Yeah, it's all about how numbers are divisible here. So the whole thing that I did here, like it has to be divisible by 2, is no longer true, because if you have uh, three repetitions of 3 numbers, it is an odd number, length 9, or 2 of 3, etc. So that's no longer a requirement because it can be more than 2 repetitions. So any number can cause a repetition now. So I'm just thinking like this length is something that changes that we need to have updated. And I wonder if I just, because the longest number is, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 10 digits, okay? So 5 is the biggest divisor for that. Mm, 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 mm. Let me see. If I do like a void, find possible patterns, long value. Um, long end. Like it's always still a range. A lot of this still and does this work the way I think it would? Let me see. Because here we can do the start length if len divisible by repeats is not just wonder if we're doing duplicate work if I do it this way, but it's probably fine. And we need it by repeats actually. Like this. And actually this becomes a new string, half repeats. And it's no longer half, but is it it's string.repeat? Okay. I thought I had something for that, but no mind. String repeat string value int count. Sure. String builder. Okay. For int I is 0, I is all count plus I, sb.append value return sb.toString. Okay. I thought that was a repeat thing in string already, but apparently I was wrong. So this would be half repeats, like this. Same thing here. Okay. And this again needs to be this. Okay. And this still the same as this. The only thing that I need to do now is make sure that half doesn't become longer than the desired length. So we do max half is len divided by repeats. It's actually this. Wait. plus another length, right? Yeah, it would be this one. Is that right? I think so. Half smaller than max half. Because if we have like a 2-digit, like this repeats thing, yields us a repeating pattern of 2 digits. Once it gets into 3-digit range, it's no longer, it should stop, because then it would output numbers bigger than this. Anyway, I think it will automatically, this will automatically trigger it, so we don't need that, actually. Never mind. We don't need that safety there, because it will automatically grow bigger than the end value. You don't want, you have an extra digit in there, it all blows up way too far. So this would work, I think, because if we do this now, I could do find possible patterns, start, and 2 repeats, and I do invalid IDs at range like this. Continue. So this should bypass the rest, and now part 1 should still be correct. See, part 1 is still correct. Part 2 is incorrect because I don't know that yet. And I didn't do all the other things yet. So okay, so this logic is correct, at least for that one. So let's make sure that we test this logic here as well. So for part 2, we can remove all of this, and we can do this. I'm not going to do it nicely here now. I will do that later, but for now I just want to see if this works for part 2. Am I off by something? I should have locals, and let's see. Let's just add a watch here, as well as this one, and then we can just, oop, let's see. We are off by a bit. So let's see if we have the invalid IDs. Let's just put them here and see what the code said, so that we can compare and see where we went wrong. Yeah, this is still visible, right? Yeah, okay. So we have 11, 22, 99. We have 10, 10, and 99. That's correct. We have this one. We have this one. Why do we have this one twice? Ah, it doesn't count as a unique. Yeah, okay, got it. I need to deduplicate within all the sets there. I need to deduplicate them. So the answer is off by this one, I think. Right? Yeah. So I think if I do, sure, if I do P2 minus this, and then it matches up with the actual answer. So yeah, okay. Like I said yesterday, I really like the test data, because and maybe we'll see differently later on, but for now, I really like that Eric has made sure that he catches all the stupid mistakes I make in the test case, so that I can find it. Let's see, YouTube has some Chat here. Hey Nick, been watching a few of your old videos as well. Hey, nice, thank you. Always nice to see. Makes a change from watching those people using Python and Vim complete both parts before even finish reading part one. Yeah, I think you're. I know who you're talking about, and um, there are broadly speaking there are two classes of people or types of people that do Advent of Code, right? You have the one that are there for the challenge. They want to be as fast as possible. They excel at the reading comprehension and they try to speedrun this as fast as possible. And then there's people like me, but also I see like Smap does it for fun as well. Like they just like the challenge, and Amarte and so many more. They just like doing the challenge and enjoy coding and seeing how can they solve this and maybe even improve, learn some new things, etc. So yeah, don't expect any 5-minute streams from me. So it's nice to have you on board. While I have you here, I'll just also drop the Discord if you want to share your code at the end or look at what other people have done. I always just drop a link to the Discord for those who don't have it yet, and people share their code there, and we can talk about it a bit. So let's see. I should probably also drop it on Twitch, but I don't have the Twitch manager open. .tv twitch.tv/mkcss. So let me do that just now there. Okay. Boom. There's the Discord as well. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, the thing that we need to do here is we need to have a sub result and make sure that we distinct these values. So what I can do is here is a hash set of long invalid IDs IDs boom. And that doesn't work. Boom, 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 right? I mean, I could just, for each long ID and this, IDs.add ID. I'll look at a better way in a bit. For now, it's fine. So, and now I can do invalid IDs, if I can type, that is, add range IDs. So this will make sure that there are no duplications in here like we saw here. It counted this one double. So that is fine. You can't, it's allowed to have duplicate IDs, but not for the same range, right? So now if you run this again, both tests should pass, and there it is. So I didn't record my original answer, so let me put that one in so that it doesn't complain when I run it the first time again. So answer P1, because it will test it and say, hey, that's wrong. Test is false, and let's see what it spits out for part 2. Boom, part 2. And if all is well, this should give us... Oh, not the right answer, it's too low. Ah, that's too bad. Okay, invalid answer. Boom. Hey Marte, welcome. So what did I do wrong? Did I see just some of the test data? I'm not so smart, because the actual inputs will be longer than this, and I didn't account for it. So yeah. So now I'll do something dirty. now should get a bigger number. Woohoo! Yeah, that's Luke is totally disappointed. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't make another mistake. But yeah, this is very dirty. Thank you. And I also realized like everything that duplicates in 2 times probably also repeats the same way in 4 and in 8. So there should be some memorization there as well, but I'm just not sure if that makes a lot of sense. I'm just thinking, based on the length of the digit, we should have a set of numbers. So for what would be the best way to do this? For int I is 0. No, actually, it needs to be at least 2. Let me think. Int I is 2. I is smaller than, and this would be max long length is long dot max value to max. Come on, max value to string dot length. Something like this. So we do a dictionary. Basically what I want to do is like based on the length of the number, just get which one of these that we should execute. So not blindly do all of this, because we not everything can be found in 3 patterns. It's all based on the length. So I was like, okay, let's just write something in general that will spit out based on the length of a number how many which lengths, which repeat counts we should try. Boom, 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 boom. So this would be an int for length, and this would be a hash set of lengths. Division info is like this, okay? And now we need to do this for each one of these. Let me see. Okay, so we don't need to put that in here, because now we need to do for int I is, let's say, at least 2, I smaller than. Actually, you need to do that twice, right? Yeah, you need to do a nested loop. Something like this. So we do a hash set int d is blah, and then we do division info dot add. This will be j comma d, something like this. So now we can do if j divided by I d dot add I. All right. So in this case, everything and it needs to be like this, but it also needs to be at least 2 when you divide it. So and j divided by I larger than 1, right? I think this would mean this is the logic that we're looking for. Let me just write it out. For each int key in division info console.writeLine can key can equally divided into multiple of, like this, right? And then we do string dot join, comma, and this will be division info key. Here, dot keys. And I still need to put this one actually as the answer here. That was the correct one, right? Yeah, okay. So let's see. 2, I can't. 3, 4 can be in 2. 6 can be in 2 and 3. 7, you can't. 8 can be in 2 and 4. 9 can be in 3s. 10 can be in 2 and 5. 11. So 12 can be in 2, 3, 4, 6. See, this was the general idea. So now if you and you have to actually merge the from and start lengths, and then you can have them. So so here you can do it's actually for each one in between. It's annoying, but hash set int I'm not great at naming this, sorry. So do for int I is start dot toString dot length and length is end dot toString dot length I smaller than end length I, and then we do Is there an easy way to add a range to a Nick advanced prime? Yeah, but basically that's what we need here. Is there an easy way to add a range? Like, is there? Ah, there's append. No, append to value, append. Like these are all IEnumerable extensions. I need to have the original ones to make sure that it works, because that produces an IEnumerable. I just need to modify the was it union? Yeah, probably. But there's a union. No, this is also not the one. There is a union with, that was it. I was looking for the native function of the hash set to extend it. So that would also be like this thing. That's what we need there, union with. So yeah, thanks. At least it got me to the right track. So you need union with, and this would be division info I. So now we can do for each int div and this, and then we do IDs that union with, find possible patterns, start and div. Right, and now we can throw this away. I can just do invalid IDs in this case. Oh no, never mind. I need to do this first and then I can do that. And now it should all still work. Watch it all break. Boom, the given key 1 was not present in the dictionary. Wait. Which digit? Okay. If the division info contains key I, boom. I didn't account for stuff like that. Oh, I get a whole different number. That's interesting. So let's see if we run the test. Is that also wrong? Yeah, that's also wrong. 0. That's interesting. Okay, let me see. What does it do here? It says 0. What's the start here? It's 11 to 22. No, I was wrong. So you can have. I excluded this part from the logic there. So this is my fault here. Right. No, that doesn't work. Let's see. I need to start this as 1. No, this one needs to start at 2, but the divisor needs to start at 1. But that... Yeah, that would give you 3 repeating numbers. I'm just thinking, is this correct? Because I didn't do this on my end. Hey Frozenwell, welcome. Yeah, another Advent of Code year. What was I saying? Yeah, this year only 12 days. Yeah, I'm doing well and the kids are doing well. Well, currently everyone is sick at home, but in general they are doing very well. So the oldest one just went to high school and she's doing great there. So that's really nice. Yeah, I already finished day 2, but I was trying to be clever and now I got myself into a bit of a pickle because I didn't account for these. But actually I think, yeah, this is what I need to do there. I wonder how I did that wrong. I've done both days so far. Nice. How did you do on yesterday? Because I struggled a bit figuring out a small little bug that, like, you don't have to, if you start from 0, don't count it again. Let's see. if I run this, what happens? Yesterday was very simple. Yeah, it was simple, but there was still I still had a bug there. If I go to day 1, I had to add this tracking like from 0, and the way that I solved it, that if I start from 0 and I move past it, that I don't trigger it there again because it was already counted and it technically didn't go through 0. So that was something that I had to debug yesterday. But I can imagine that you didn't, if you solve it a different way, that you solved it easily. So now I'm just thinking, what have I done wrong? Because in my head everything was correct, but looking at the test input, it should do this. So I'm kind of wondering if I should. I had output before, right? Oh no, that was just invalid IDs. Which ones did I have? Yeah, this makes no sense. 95, etc. This makes no sense. So I'm on the right track-ish, but not correct, not completely. Let's see. My logic to get the find possible pattern. This repeats. This is how many, how long the repeating section has to be. No, this is how many times the value repeats. And I have done it the wrong way around. So that's funny. Because when I did this thing, the whole prime number thing, basically, actually did the complete divisor thing. This is the opposite of the value that needs to be specified there. Because if you the thing, okay, let me just explain. I'm rambling, sorry. So this actually needed to be still be 1, and actually this part needs to be removed. So let me just do that now. The thing that I have to feed in here is actually not this raw value, but how do you call it? This divided by this would be the value that we test. So I think this will be start divided by div. I can do. Actually, it's start.toString.length divided by div. I think that's the thing I need. Well, that one is correct. This one isn't. I really wonder how it's even getting to 95 as a valid value. So just curious. I can always revert, but I'm curious to see where I'm wrong in my head now. Let me just go get the first one. So this one should be 11 to 22, right? This is not possible, repeats 2, because... or is it? No, it's possible. Yeah. Yeah. So this one should return. Ah, that is the, okay. I actually need to wait till I hit the second part before I stop debugging, because it goes wrong when I do this part. Let me set the breakpoint here. And boom. Okay, now we're in part 2. So let's see. This is from 11 to 22. So this is interesting. So length 2 should have a 1 and 2. 2 is incorrect because a length of 2 cannot be... Oh yeah, it can be 1 repeating. So yeah. Let's see. SmapPK says, today was easy enough that I've written it 3 ways. Keep fiddling. I even wrote a routine or 2 that I already have in my helpers but forgot. Been able to update those. So yeah. I'm just... while trying to make it not a few times just find possible patterns, I broke it. So for now, this is gonna take a while. I want to go back home to the kids, so I'm just gonna yoink this here and just leave it like this, and just put back the old ugly code that works for now, so that I can work on it later. So I think, yeah, I can just do this. I can do 4 int I is 2, I smaller than 10, increment I. And I do it the very ugly way for now. Let's see if this still works or that I broke something else, because I might have. Okay, now it still works. So yeah, I'll debug this at a later time, maybe when I have some clarity tomorrow, because obviously the logic is there. I just need to find a nice way to go from, instead of doing this, to just doing it by using my math. Hey Spectrum, welcome. Let me see. I'll bring up the Discord now and see what everybody has done. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go back to this morning. Smap was the first to post. Let's see. Gift shop. Is this the latest evolution? When did you commit? 5 minutes ago. Yeah, that should be the latest version. Just clean my glasses a bit. Oh, that's even worse. It's always nice that when you clean your glasses that it gets worse. A bit like my code refactor. And Martha says, Nick, as there are fewer AOC days now, do you plan to go back to previous years instead? I want to say yes, but I've also been so swamped that I can't make any promises. Like every year I say I want to try and keep streaming because I love doing this so much, and go back and do other AOCs, and I always get inspired to make like a visualization for something, but it's so hard to find the time with everything. But I'll try. Like it's so nice having everybody in the chat, and it feels like a nice small community of people that just love doing coding, etc. So I want to go back and do some of the older AOCs, and yeah, let's try. But I can't make any promises right now. Let's see. Day 2, the ranges. You have an innumerable range from 1 to 10. Looks familiar. Let's see. Smash says, I pre-calculated my divisor's logic as the rest changes instead of repeating. Okay. Enumerable range of yeah, where pattern length, sure. Yeah, this. Okay. So this is the same thing that I did, basically, like the visible stuff, just written more cleanly. Let's see, load instructions, flex, parse range. Yep, I have the same thing. Like I have so many helpers, but I only do this once a year, so I always forget how to use them. Like I have, and even though it gets very ugly sometimes, like I have these helpers that just lets me map stuff to objects, but I even have to go back and look up how to use them, so maybe they're not that great. Let's see. Parse range, that is just split as long, sure. And this is your own parser thing, right? I have the as I enumerable and int32 and stuff like that. Yeah. Let's see. Select many range value is even integer. Okay. Range of values. Let's see. What was the range again? Ranges. What's the range thing? Do you have it here? Quick length. Ah, cheeky. Dun, 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 dun. Long range was a type, but I built for. Okay. Okay. I was just looking if this would produce like all the values in the range or not. Yes, okay. Let me see, what does this do exactly? Can you explain this bit? So you have powers of 2 for half the length that you do here. Splits a number in 2 by using division or modulo. Oh, okay. Ah, okay. Hmm. Isn't challenging. Quick first digit check, extract first digit of pattern, first digit of pattern position. We used strings originally, but this works out about twice as fast. Okay. But don't you have a lot of that stuff that you enumerate over and count over, or? Because the thing with the strings part is that you skip a whole lot of values there. Well, depending. Because and that's what I said in the beginning, like you could use bit shifting to make the whole combination of values a lot faster and more efficient. Yeah, interesting using the powers of 2 with the mod. And let's see what that was smap. Let's see. So this also builds out the whole range of values. For start ranges, right? If I see, oh no, or is this just a tuple? Yeah, this is just a tuple, right? Okay. For start ending ranges, invalid count start end. Invalid count start length. Sure. Basically the same thing there. I just used a whole lot of string in between, so I noticed there's like an easier way to get to make the jump, but but simpler, but slower. Yeah. And what did he do for part 2? Wait, what? Why would you do a max of these two? The end is always above the start, right? It's defensive programming, that's for sure, but... Or am I missing something? Boom, 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 2, 2. Yeah, at least this accounts for like the what do you mean? The different length numbers here. So it takes all of those. And, yeah. Every time when I look at stuff like this, it's like, okay, it seems like I added like 100 steps that were needed. But that's why it's always nice to look at other people's code. Let's see what amount they did. Let's see. The first part is the parsing. I see it's back to C# and not C++ anymore this year. Select many range. Yeah, it's just better. It's in the end, it comes down to what you're used to. But yeah, I'm biased saying I prefer C#, but that's just because it's what I know best and what I'm most comfortable with myself. But you did some pretty cool stuff last year, so don't knock it. Yeah, this is for the part 1, like only take the ones that are divisible by 2. That's fine. I think I'm zoning out. I'm just having, but I've had that with all the solutions so far. It's just I'm so in my head, probably still with how I solved it, that it's like it takes a lot for me to read the other solutions, because it's like I did it such a different way. Like having to visualize all the stuff that's going on here. It just, but that's on me, not on you. This is the link variant, and here he did it the original way. Or did you do the link first and then this one? And yeah. So, candidates, yeah, that's okay. Just try link to see if yeah. In my head, I kept missing that you would that everything is done based on the half thing that I did as well. So I think I'm just a bit tired, but it makes sense now. But I link is nice to chain stuff together, but I have the same issue when I use my extensions. It becomes harder to read because it's so dense, especially if you have to do tricks um, to make it all linkable. So while this is nice, I prefer the readability of this myself. Even though I always resort, or often resort to doing stuff like this as well. But that usually I have like those extensions that I talked about in the past. I have it set up where I can have like a small link bomb that I can hide, and then I have nicely typed objects, etc. So it just cuts down stuff, and that's why I used to do it a lot. But going back and having to remember how it all works makes me realize that it's probably not the best way to do things, but it's convenient, that's for sure. Martin says yes. Anambir says would maybe help to put some of those mathematical expressions into separate functions. And Martin says yes, especially there's no link in C++, so I don't get to work with it every year. Not used to it. Yeah. Let's see, little block sizes. Yeah, and this is where I'm messing up right now, trying to be smart and clever to do that. I'll revisit that. Usually when I have some sleep, stuff pops into my head and it's like, oh yeah, burp. Let's see if the block, yeah, if it doesn't match, continue. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Let's see, do we have more? Visual Studio adding unnecessary usings. Yeah, I've had that before. Nineberry's code. This is something that I really like that from like JavaScript, where you do like you do 1, 2, 3, and they do that split map number, like that notation instead of like doing. I used to do like int of parse int x10 to make sure there's a radix, but now you can do it. You can just feed that into it, and it will wrap, and you don't even have to worry about the radix because the modern versions already take care of that. You don't get an accidental octal conversion, etc. So it reads nicely when you do a select and you have your conversion function that you pass to it. Let's see, Smap says I use advent of code to work on my link and functional concepts. Yeah. And yesterday we had somebody share some F# code. I really love how it looks, but I have such a hard time wrapping my head around it because I'm just not used to functional programming. Smap says only works if you don't have any extra parameters to add. Yeah, for sure. Boom. Solve ranges, inclusive ranges, solve ranges. Max value is 10 digits long, so repeat not more than 10 times. Okay. Max repeat where now. Yeah. Max value was the once. Let's see, Nineberry says, I created a possible invalid number, but generally, and not only for the given ranges, and then test against the ranges. And this is something like in the beginning that I thought about. You could bit shift this if you wanted, so you could do like can I do 1 2 3 well, actually, if you bit shift, you have to first know how many bits you have to shift over. Haha, that's a good one. Didn't think about that. And also, no, that won't work at all. Never mind, because yeah, a brain fart. You can only do that with mod. So you could do like math and pow to 10,3, right, and add. Do it like that, but come on. So you could do something like that, but not sure if this is more efficient than just doing it as a string and parsing it. You could bench that probably, right? Only thing about the interactive one is that it doesn't really like copy pasting because it gets nervous. Right. So you could use this to rebuild the number there instead of the string, but it's something that I should probably do myself and test to see if it works. Let's see now. Expected part 2 to be find all except in the ranges. Yeah. I was actually thinking that there must be some twist that the ranges become very huge, but yeah, can imagine. Let's see, was there another one? Oh, Luke also shared his code. Let's see. Foute nummers. That's Dutch. For each string set. Yeah, get the first part there. Bum, 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 bum. Yep. Let's see. Let's see. This is the cached from the first one. Let's see, part 2 again, generate all invalid numbers. Let's see. Ah, here. Okay, I missed this part. Okay, let's see. Okay. Same strategy I use. Yeah. I mean, that works. You could have like a binary search here to narrow it down to make sure you find your upper and lower bound twice fast. So you can just take the first and the last index if they're sorted to make it even faster. But that's funny because that becomes just a simple like a loop. Yeah, I would do 2 binary searches probably, and then you get the whole range of stuff that you can add. I'm still thinking about what I did wrong with my code, but that's not gonna let me go for a while now. Let's see, where was I looking at? And another F# one. Let's see. Parse content. I should probably also throw my code up on GitHub and then commit it and share it, because all of you share your code and I just share it on stream. But I'll make sure to think about putting it on a public repo so it's available there to mock. Let's see, park content, then line split. Sure. I expected there to be like a type here, but it's probably just a generic tuple in this way. Let's see what's slower. Counting down that is not valid. Has repeated. Okay, let's see. Count invalid IDs. Big int times big int. What's this notation? Not valid ID being string there. Has repeated pattern length, pattern. It's a tuple starter. Ah, okay. Okay. So this is the upper limit break. So if you grow too big, it stops there. Let's see if line mod has repeated. I just narrowed the brute force with some discarding. Sure. Let's see, repeat also. So this is just a recursive call to here. Right? Let's see. Has repeated. This one returns false. This one calls itself. Recursion party. Yeah. Let's see. Offset line. Where does offset come from here? Ah. So, true. Okay, yeah. Compare charts has to have when to check 12 with offset 2 and 4. Okay. Then it boils down to this. Okay. I need to read, keep posting the code. I need to read more of it to become better at it and understand it better. Okay, I think that's all of the submissions. So, welcome, Spectrum, and if you do want to share your code, feel free to do it here. It's I always like looking at what other people made. So yeah, I'll end this stream here. I hope you had fun. I will probably revisit this tomorrow somewhere because I can't let stuff like this go because I want to understand what I'm doing wrong here and make sure that I fix this in a way that I like. Because I just can't let stuff like that go. That's not in my nature. But yeah, it was a fun one. I so far I'm not disappointed with the Advent of Code challenges. Usually the first few days go by very quickly and not much of a challenge. But these are simple enough that if you just do the brute force approach, it works and it's fun. But you can also, if you like to challenge yourself, have a bit of fun with it and actually have a challenge. At least for me. Maybe it's still very easy for you, but I still have some things that make my head go, well, how can I do this in a nice way? How would I do this in a good way? So yeah, I'm having fun so far. Looking forward to see the rest. So yeah, thanks everybody, and hopefully see you again tomorrow. Bye bye. And now I have to find my OBS to close it. Bye bye.